Hello everyone and welcome back. I am as always Inquisitor Aura and this is how to RP in WoW, and today we are going to be taking a look at the Night Elves or the Kaldore. Please note that these are just guidelines to socially acceptable and lore-friendly RP in WoW. There is pretty much a niche for every type and style of RP. What I'm putting out here are the generally accepted guidelines that will not get you ridiculed. One of the first things it is important for you as a player to understand about role-playing as a Night Elf, or a Kaldore as they like to be called, is that you as a race caused the Sundering. Now this was all back in the day when the Night Elves had a massive kingdom and an entire civilization built on magic, ruled at that time by a queen by the name of Azshara. She was so selfish and self-centered that she actually thought Sargeras was the only living being worth her hand in marriage. It was ultimately this train of thought that led to the War of the Ancients, the destruction of the Well of Eternity, and the Sundering. She very nearly destroyed the world trying to bring Sargeras to Azeroth. No matter who you are, regardless of whether or not you were highborn or simply Kaldore, you had a part to play in that, either by assisting Azshara as a highborn or by allowing her to do it for so long as a Kaldore. Also, it is important to understand that there were physically no significant differences between normal Kaldore and the highborn. The highborn may have been slightly stronger, slightly faster, slightly more intelligent, slightly better with magic, but physically the two were identical, though mentally they could not have been farther apart. The next major thing that most people seem to forget about in the lore of the Night Elves is that not all of the highborn were transformed into satyrs or naga. Those were just the ones who wanted to be transformed in the case of the satyrs, or were fortunate enough to be trapped with Azshara when Zin Azshari collapsed into the Maelstrom, who turned out to be the Naga. Some of the highborn fled south to Eldrath Alas, better known as Dire Maul, and became what we now call the Chandrilar. The rest were exiled and eventually became the Kaldore and then the Sindore. So yes, the answer is you can RP a highborn. Just remember, most non-highborn Night Elves are likely going to despise you. Perhaps one of the biggest points I could make is that you are no longer immortal. When you sacrifice your immortality granted to you by the World Tree to destroy Archimonde, you relegated yourself to a life of immortal. Though you are still extraordinarily long-lived, you are no longer endless. That being said, you are working on that. Your people have been researching and trying to regain that immortality. Both Teldrassil and Vordrossil in the Grizzly Hills were attempts to recreate Nordrassil, the World Tree, at the height of its power. As a result of that, it is entirely possible that you have lived since the War of the Ancients. Even before the creation of Nordrassil, it was rare for Night Elves to die outside of direct combat. As a result of this long life, Night Elves have very few children, and a Night Elf who is 300 years old is barely considered an adult. Some Night Elves have golden eyes. Golden eyes do not automatically make you a druid. Those born with golden eyes possess an affinity for druidic magic, and was seen as a sign of greatness during the War of the Ancients. Illidan Stormrage was born with golden eyes, whereas Malfurion was not, and it was described that if Illidan had chosen the path of druidism over arcane magic, he would have been the most powerful druid to ever have been born. That being said, practicing druidism for long periods of time will change your eyes from silver to gold, which is why Malfurion has gold eyes now. Now, as for the in-game models, the female models do not have an option for golden eyes, but the male models do not have a silver-eyed option, so WTF Blizz. And while we're talking about the druids, traditionally, Males were druids and females were warrior types and priests. Now, this is obviously no longer the case, but it is important to understand about Calderae society. Females would have started becoming druids after the Third War. Males are just now being accepted into the priesthood of Elune and amongst the Sentinels at the same time. Remember, Malfurion was the very first druid. And when Ysera blessed the Night Elves and the World Tree and granted them access to the Emerald Dream, only the males answered the call of Druidism, leaving the females behind to defend them. This is ultimately why you see the Sentinels are all female, while the Huntresses are all female. This is the explanation for that. And quite possibly one of the things that I see most people getting wrong about the Calderae is that these are not Lord of the Rings style elves. These are not Tolkien-esque, high fantasy types of elves. Yes, while they are extremely reclusive, that seems to be a common elven trait amongst the fantasy genre, they have no problem killing people who trespass on their territory. I direct your eyes to Ashenvale. Ashenvale has been a war zone for the better part of the past 10 years because Ashenvale is Night Elven territory. They are fierce and take no shit. They have been here longer than most races, but not as long as some, and built civilizations before Titanic Guardians were cursed with the curse of flesh. This is especially true for the females. For 10,000 years, they made something known as the Long Vigil. They vigorously and earnestly protected their lands from intruders and had a mentality of firing first and asking questions later, because that's what they were supposed to do. They were protecting the slumbering druids in the Barrow Dens who were in the Emerald Dream. Yes, while long-lived, very wise, and often quite peaceful, do not make any mistake. The Night Elves will not hesitate to defend their homes and their lands from people, from outsiders, from intruders, and especially from the Horde. And they will do it with any means necessary. They will do it with sword, they will do it with bow, they will do it with gun, they will do it by sneaking up on you, and they will do it by attacking you with tooth and claw. And last but certainly not least, not all Night Elves are good. Fandral Staghelm was not good. The Druids of the Flame in the Firelands were not good. The Druids of the Fang in Wailing Caverns were not good. And that is perfectly okay. I have seen a lot of people who RP the Night Elves as very Elrondish type characters. Very old, very wise, very calm, very peaceful. And the point of this video was to let you guys know that that is not necessarily a good thing. You gotta remember, the Night Elves have been around for a long time. They have seen some shit and some stuff, and most of it wasn't good. They have almost destroyed the world, and they have learned their lesson from that. So, they aren't very nice as a whole. They're nice to each other, they're nice to the Alliance, but if you are on the outside looking in, the Night Elves are not going to even pretend to like you. They will outwardly try to kill you in most cases. And that's what I don't see a lot of in RP for the Calderae nowadays. Well, that is going to be it for the Night Elves episode of How to RP in WoW. Thank you for watching. Remember, if you like what you see and you want to see more, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to comment below, and don't forget to subscribe. I will be doing more of these videos. My next video is going to be a Horde race. I haven't decided which Horde race as of yet, so if you have something in particular that you'd like to see that I haven't already done, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you again so much for watching. I am, as always, Inquisitor Aura. Have a great week, have a great weekend, and we will see you again in the World of Warcraft.